My grandfather used to be a chief, and back then, chiefs used to be
big people.
In fact,
can imagine.
My grandmother's house has.
Up to now, the chiefs still have power.
They still have power.
Not as much, but there's still something.
Yeah.
When you go home and just mention, we are going to the chiefs, it's a big deal.
Yeah. My grandfather's household, he had like 18 wives.
Oh, that was a big family.
So it was a big family. Like we are a lot. In fact, even growing
18 wives. Like, how did you even manage?
I'm telling you, everywhere you go right now at home, like you're meeting your cousins.
You can't get married.
You are never allowed to
because
date.
You have siblings.
Across, you are sent to the shop and they find you flexing with a boy on the road. You're going to be taken to the chief's office. Now the chief during our times now. And you're going to be beaten because everybody there is your relative. And I used to love English so much. Me growing up even in primary. And my dad had even given me books to just know synonyms of different words. So even people could be saying like, we are starting, and I'll be like, we are commencing, and I'm in primary. Even I remember even in compositions, my compositions used to be taken to other schools for them to read and say, this is how you're supposed to be doing your everything. So I used to love English very much, and in fact it was my favorite.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in into Inspire to Aspire. On to today's show, we are having a guest that is really close to my heart and to this show. And the reason I'm saying to this show is because she has been a great impact on this channel. She has been the one that really taught me the specs, or rather the ropes of YouTube, and how to get into YouTube and the consistency of YouTube. So I'll let her introduce herself.
Wow, thank you so much, Rosa, for having me. You're making me blush right now with the intro, but I'm so humbled and honored actually to be here and to be invited. My name is Maryanne Imali. Yeah.
Okay, so Maryanne, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your minutes, your time, and your dedication. I can't really take it for granted. The fact that you came all the way and you're here on this set is really an honor to me. And thank you for continuing building me. So, you see, I might just end up saying everything about you, and I don't want that, because today you're on the spot, and I want you to give us details. Who is Maryanne? Where was Maryanne born? Where was Maryanne raised? How was your childhood? In a way that you're most comfortable with, just let us know.
Okay. So, of course, as I said, my name is Maryanne Imali, for anybody who cares to know my second name. Yeah, of course, I'm Kenyan. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a baker. I almost became a journalist or a news anchor, but that never happened. But I'm so glad, despite the fact that I never became a journalist or a news anchor, I'm a content creator. And so growing up, actually, that is what I wanted to become. I wanted to become a journalist or a news anchor. I remember, because I'm born in a family of 8. 4 sisters and 4 brothers. Yeah. And I remember us growing up watching news with my mom and my dad, and every time you could see news anchors on TV, and you're just admiring them, you know, the way they presented themselves, the way they're saying the news. And so mom or dad is like, they are so learned. You see those people you're watching on TV, they're so learned. So I grew up knowing, I need to be like them, and I need to be a news anchor, or I need to be a journalist, or both.
And you need to be learned as well.
To be learned as well. Okay, so that went on. I finished my primary school and I joined high school. And of course, I grew up as a very shy girl, and up to even high school. So when I joined Form 1, I was introduced to being a leader of several things, like, for example, being a leader of the peer pressure group. So basically, it was for anybody who is stressed or anybody who needs someone to talk to when they're going through something in school, they can come talk to me. So we were like 4 of us. That is when I started opening up, at least talking, because I used to be so shy.
Timid.
Sorry?
You were timid, held back, and...
Not really, but let me just say, okay, or maybe to some extent.
Just shy.
to some extent. Like even my aunties, anybody who was older than me, like I was like, whenever I'm talking, I'll be like, shh, I don't want to shout. I don't want to look like I'm being impulsive or anything.
It was kind of loss of confidence or something?
I really don't know. I really don't. I don't understand.
So can you take us back to, maybe we might understand from here, how was your childhood like? And what number of child are you? Are you the firstborn? Are you the lastborn?
I'm the lastborn of 8.
You're the lastborn of 8.
Yes. And I grew up in a blended family. Yeah, so like for my mom and my dad, it's the 3 of us, me and my 2 brothers. And then my dad had a daughter and a son. Actually, he had a daughter, a big daughter. And then now again, my dad met a white woman. They also had 2 kids. That is a daughter and a son. They are in the US. And then my mom also had a daughter and a son. So yeah, we grew up in a blended family. And actually, even growing up, we never, or rather me, I never knew it's a blended family. I know like family. You are sisters, brothers.
Oh yeah.
I never knew because all of us were loved.
You grew equal. Oh, the love was shown. There was no discrimination. There was no fight amongst children.
Nothing. And there was nobody even told us. In fact, even for me to know that, I remember because during December holidays, Christmas holidays, my family used to host lots of our relatives. They used to come, my cousins and everything. So I remember in one of the Christmas holidays, that's when my cousin actually mentioned it to me. I was like, hey, my sister is coming. And then she told me, actually, I was told she's not at your biological sister. I mean, like she's your stepsister.
Oh yeah.
I was like, no, she's my sister. No, it's true, she's not. She's your stepsister. You can even ask Shosh, or you can ask you're my mom or something. So then I remember asking again. Then I was that is when I got the confirmation, and I knew okay. So
but you were not feeling some type of way when you see, or I want to assume having an African and white child, the skin tone might be different. That one wasn't raising eyebrows to you as you were growing.
As you were growing up. So when you were growing up, actually they were not in the picture at all, even to our adulthood life. So we were just as like, so I'll say the 6 of us, but we had their pictures all over the place in the house because they were home. My grandfather used to be a chief, and back then chiefs used to be big people. In fact, even my grandmother's house has
up to now, the chiefs still have power.
They still have power.
Not as much, but there's still something.
Yeah.
When you go home and just mention, we are going to the chief, if it's a big deal.
Yeah. Hey, okay. So I remember they came there, because we were being told, my dad were telling me how they had servants, even white people as their servants. My grandmother's house has, I think, over 24 rooms. Like it was really big. Right now it's old, so it's not that pleasing. And then there are no repairs that took place, renovations or anything, so it's just there. We were hoping some of our cousins will do who were given that part, but they didn't. But anyway, so that is how it was. So we never grew up with them, but we had their pictures, so we always looked forward to seeing them one day. So I remember us carrying the pictures all over the place. In fact, I had an album where I used to keep my pictures and my siblings' pictures, including them. Throughout the primary, I could tell people, I have white siblings, and then in high school I could tell people, I have white siblings.
And then that was a flex.
It was a flex. Have you ever met? We've never met. Like, so I'm just in my heart, no, we've never met, but they are there. Yeah, so that was like a priority. Of course, right now we've met and everything, we are talking, so maybe I'll talk about that later on. As we go through the interview.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to ask about this chiefdom. Let me call it chiefdom first. And in the western part, you mentioned you're coming from the western, right?
I didn't mention, but it's okay. Yeah.
The western part, there's still kingdoms running. Is it not part of the kingdom? The Kabaka kingdom, the Sijui, I don't know which other kingdom. Oh, sorry.
I think it was
but there are kingdoms. I know I'm messing up, but I know there's kingdoms.
The kingdoms, yeah.
So when you mention a big house and big, my mind went back to the kingdom.
So that was I think there's an area called Mumias. I think that's where there are the kingdoms and everything. But for my grandfather's household, he had like 18 wives.
Oh, that was a big family.
So it was a big family. Like we are a lot. Like in fact, even
that was
growing
a
up,
chief. I was not just a chief, but chief. You know what I mean?
In fact, even growing
18
up,
wives.
like
How did you even manage?
I'm telling you, everywhere you go right now at home, like you're meeting there are your cousins.
You can't get married
you
in
are never allowed to
because
date
you have siblings.
across. You are sent to the shop and they find you flexing with a boy on the road. You're going to be taken to the chief's office. Now the chief during our times chief, now. And you're going to be beaten because everybody there is your relative. Because you can imagine my grandfather having 18 wives. It means you have cousins all over the place. Like it's like the entire of this area. It's your.
I can imagine.
So you never date. If you want to date, you have to cross. I don't know. Go to
that's a big experience. You just cancel Western
from your list in the entire region. and then now my now immediate grandfather dropped it to 2. Now he had 2 wives.
So now we were at high school. I just brought you back to get to an understanding. An understanding, and I also wanted to know where this shy girl is coming from, because from where I sit, rather from when I knew you, I don't see anything shyness.
Oh my God,
I don't. And if you try to convince me that you're shy, but for me,
you wouldn't.
I wouldn't get it. And I now want to understand where did it come from, and but now understanding a big family can be a bit intimidating without you even knowing.
And you know,
because there's a lot of competition as well. Or you guys didn't experience competition in terms of school, in terms of performances, in terms of even looks. I don't know, but from us, I'm trying to view from my angle where we don't come from a very big family. And my siblings, I remember we used to compete a lot with my sister. And somehow you just want to look good, and if they have something nice, you want to wear it so that you can look even better than them. So such kind of little competitions might also have
contributed.
So it wasn't there completely as siblings.
Now no, because basically I grew up as the only girl, quotes in quotes. Now, but I think maybe this is how it came. You know, I grew up in a very, very disciplined home. We used to get caned like crazy. My dad was a teacher, my mom was a teacher. Then having 2 siblings that are big, of course,
are older.
They are older. They told you they were not in the country. And then the oldest one was married, but then we had the other 2. But now my big sis, she also got married. Now we had the bro, and he was he was a disciplinarian. So anything you could do, you are beaten, like thorough beating. It's not like
strokes, it's not jokes.
Yes, either you are sent to the shop, and they estimate the distance to the shop is like 3 minutes. You have to be back, and it's almost 5 minutes or 10 minutes you're not back.
So you're not spoiled babyish because you're the last
my dad
and then now you're also the only girl around, overprotection and all that.
So you come home, you're in fact when you come home, they just tell you kneel down, and you come trembling. You're kneeling down there, you're waiting for your kids. Where are you coming from? What are you doing? And all that. And I even remember, because growing up after like class 8, and then I remember being, I think after high school from 4, I remember some guys used to hit on me, and then I'm asking them, why are you hitting on me right now? Why didn't you hit on me when I was growing up the way you are hitting on other girls? And they were telling me, you're home, you had a dog at the gate, not literally, but like they mean how strict my family, how it was. Yeah.
They couldn't dare.
Yeah. So that one, of course, during that time, of course, the canes and everything, we were feeling like there was something else. But growing up, I feel like to some extent they helped us in the molding. So that was one. And then, but my dad used to spoil me. Like, he never wanted me to touch anything because he felt like I'm the only girl, the last born and everything. So he used to spoil me a lot. And I even remember for the longest time I didn't know how to do house chores, like all those duties so well. But I thank God for my sister, my big sis, because she was married. So me visiting her, it felt like I'm the firstborn of that household because her children were small. So when I'm there, I'm like the firstborn. I need to show some guidance because she's going to work, the husband is going to work. So I try to run some errands. My mom spoiled me as well. Growing up with with boys, you can imagine during eating, if you're not fast, and actually I was very slow in terms of even just eating. Everybody could eat, they finish, they go, and I'm still there eating for even 3 hours. So you can imagine being in such a setup, I can always maybe miss food, I won't etc. So my mom used to take some food and keep it for me, or maybe when she's cooking, she calls me for tomatoes and things like those. Come taste, eat, and what? Or maybe if I'm doing something, maybe I'm washing utensils and people are eating, so I'm being called to eat. I'm like, I'm not coming to eat. Let me finish this works first, and then I'll come. By the time I'm going to eat, the guest has come. They have eaten my food, or the boys have cleared. So at least my mom had to keep something for me, just for me to be.
That's
safe
awesome.
Later.
So your high school life, you went through high school, you're now a counselor.
Yeah. Peer pressure counselor. Yeah.
How was it like?
Yeah, it was actually awesome, because that is when I started, building my, but not literally, because at the moment I was still, I think I always felt, even for me being chosen to be a peer counselor, I don't know, people just loved me. So because they were selecting, and the first choice was me. So when they were choosing me, but I was feeling like, hey, why are they choosing me? I think they should choose somebody else. I was feeling like,
you feel like you're not enough.
Yeah. And not up to the task, and not enough. So but then I got the guidance, because my class, what were they called? The class teacher. The class teacher.
Oh, there's class teacher.
Yeah.
There's a representative. Who are we looking at? The teachers or the
teachers? The ones who used to be the teacher of that
representative.
Class.
That's the class teacher.
The class teacher. Yeah. She was a sister, because I was in a Catholic school, and she was our English literature teacher. And I used to love English so much. Me growing up, even in primary, and my dad had even given me books to just know synonyms of different words. So when people could be saying like, we are starting, and I'll be like, we are commencing, and I'm in primary. Even I remember, even in compositions, my compositions used to be taken to other schools for them to read and say, this is how you're supposed to be doing your everything. So I used to love English very much, and in fact it was my favorite subject, among my favorite subjects. So her being the class teacher, and she's the one who appointed me, or with the guidance of the students in class, to be the peer leader. So it drew me closer to her. So we were like friends, and she guided me, so I knew how to go about the role. Yeah. So just talking to people, and then I'm a good listener. I listen. I'm very, is it sympathetic or empathetic?
Empathetic.
Yeah. So whenever I see somebody going through something, I'm just like I'm so
you're touched, you're moved.
Yeah, I'm moved so quickly. Like I can even shift. I leave my whatever thing just for the sake of this person. So I think that helped me.
So this character came from all the way, because now whoever you're describing right now is the person I've met, the Maryanne I've met, the empathetic one, the one that is willing to do stuff for you. Now Maryanne, you've been a peer educator for a while. Umekuwa high school, enjoy the life of high school. How did you perform, or rather how, not really in terms of grade unless you're comfortable, but how was the ending of high school for you, the exit? Did you go through one school, or did you change schools and all that?
Yeah. So of course, while there, and I remember even when I was joining, I don't know if it happens to everybody who's in different schools, because when I was there, actually my school, we were shaving, there was no carrying food. The only thing as a snack we could carry, it was maybe sugar, Blue Band, or maybe Milo, or cocoa, or maybe fruits. So when we were there, we were complaining a lot. Like everybody wanted an exit door. We're like, I want to leave this school. And I think when I was in Form 1 or Form 2, I remember even telling my mom, I really want to leave this school. And my mom was like, all my kids, nobody has ever studied in like 2 schools or anything. They've all studied in one school, and that's it. So you are not going to be an exception. You're going to study there until you finish. So I studied in that school from Form 1 to Form 4. Yeah, and that is where my confidence started growing, even in journalism, because I remember I was in journalism clubs, in French clubs, and then of course loving to speak. I told you I loved English so much, so anything to do with English, I participated in, and most of them used to be like poems, public speaking and maybe journalism presentations and things like those. So that is how I grew my confidence a little bit. At least I boosted it, let me just say that way. So yeah, so my high school experience was not, I can't say it was good, it was not bad, but of course, you know, as most
You
boarding
survived.
schools, yeah, the way they are, like rumors of, I don't know, ghosts or people, I don't know, beatings in schools, I don't know, people, incidences, like for example, having like there are some, okay, let me TMI, let me not just mention them, but anyway, I survived high school and it was a success. I was an average student, I'll say. Yeah.
Okay, so you finished, and then did you join any university, college, any other, or you left it at high school level?
So I did with KU. But so I just like, so I had somebody, he was saying he joined and then he so that was me. I joined, I wanted to do journalism, and then I also wanted to do mass communication, news anchoring, and then also I wanted to do project management. I had several things
you had
running.
so much in your mind.
Yeah, in my mind. But then again, I also wanted to be a nurse, actually, very much. So I remember, actually, that
So
by the time I was done with high school, actually, the thing that was really pushing in my head was nursing, actually. I don't know for what reason. And then I was not good in sciences.
So what we can talk about right now, there was a lot of confusion on choosing a path, or rather career path, because you admire so many things. You want to be a journalist, at the same time you're looking at nursing, and you're also looking at, can we talk about this kind of confusion after Form 4? Does it happen because you lack guidance, or is it the interest of wanting to know more?
So I think in terms of lucky, I can't say it's because of lack of guidance. Maybe I would say in wanting to, like, especially me, I've always wanted to juggle between many things. I've never been somebody who is content in just doing one thing. I always want to do multiple things. That is number one. But then the nursing thing, I don't know, for my mom wanted to be a nurse. My mom's parents died when they were still studying. So she wanted to do nursing course, and for some reason it was expensive because she used to pay for her own school fees. So she never succeeded in doing nursing. She ended up doing education. So I don't know if maybe that contributed, but I don't know. But because I wanted that so much, I even went to see if I can get to do nursing. But then I found the subjects that I was supposed to, they were supposed to help me. Yeah, I didn't perform well in them because I told you I was very poor in sciences, for sure, in mathematics. And I don't know, for some reason, people who are poor in sciences, they always perform good in languages and history and whatever. And those who are also, but okay, and vice versa. So that's when I thought, okay, I've always wanted to be a journalist, I've always wanted to be a news anchor, and I've performed in well in those subjects, why not? But by the time I'm having that realization, a lot of time has passed, one, and two, my mind was really fixed in being a nurse, such that I didn't want to hear about these other, about these other
option.
Yeah. So by that time, there's a friend, or maybe someone I met, who was doing something else I didn't mention. Also growing up, me and my mom, we used to watch like fashion shows, wedding shows, and I used to love so much weddings and everything to do with weddings and fashion, and admire everything. So by the time I'm meeting this lady, she was working in a cake house. So she was doing weddings and everything. So when I met her, it was during that time when I was confused. So I was wondering, what do I do?
So I think you've taken us a little bit too fast, because we were discovering your classes. At what point are you meeting this lady? At the point where you're still looking for school, or you have already dropped out of school, and now you're in that wedding space, or rather?
So by that time, see, I finished Form 4, so I need to decide now what I'm supposed to be doing. So my mind wants to do nursing.
So now you're in Nairobi?
I'm in Nairobi.
Yes.
My mind wants to do nursing, but the subjects are not. So maybe like if I do assistant nursing or something. But then what I can succeed well in doing, what I performed well in, were the journalism or news anchoring, but for some reason my mind was not there at that time. So I didn't want to do the journalism or the news anchoring. I want to do the nursing, and the nursing is not an option at that moment. So I'm in that limbo. I'm like, what am I going to do? And now during that time is when I'm meeting this lady, and she raises the passion I had in me of weddings, because that is what she was doing. Now I joined them in the company she was doing, and I'm allocated like going to weddings, setting wedding cakes, and all that.
Oh, awesome.
And that is,
now this lady has a company, or rather has a business around that?
She was working with a company that were doing that, and it also had a school. Yeah, so that is when I went in. So I did a short course with the school, but I was doing the short course as I also work. So I used to work over the weekends.
What was the short course about, entailing?
For the pastry and cakes.
Baking and pastries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So that's where you came into baking.
That's where I came into baking, and I thank God for that moment, because I really met a lot of people. I set wedding cakes even for big celebrities. Yeah, and I really loved it, and I was like, hey, I'm really, like what I've always wanted. This is happening.
So would you want to mention, or you don't feel like mentioning, place where you studied and where you worked as a baker at that point?
I don't want to mention the specific names, because it's a very well-known place. Or do I mention? I don't know.
It depends with your comfortability. We are not marketing, or we are not in competition, but sometimes in what I normally believe in is, if you feel it was a stepping stone and it raised you, then it's worth mentioning for motivational purposes, and also to be gracious about it. Unless it will rub them off in a wrong way, or it will harm you in some way, then that's when you hold back. But if you feel like huyu alinijenga, huyu alinifunza, hapa nilitoka na mazuri, and I have skill. I also feel like the brand, because I know it now, mentioning because I know the brand. And I also feel like it will give you some mileage in your business, in your current business that you're doing. That's my take.
Be like, if I'm mentioning, I'll thank the owner of the company. Maybe there are several reasons one would mention or one would not mention. But to be specific, I'll thank the owner of Valentine's Cake House. That is where I grew my passion, my abilities, my talent, my everything. And I thank the owner of Valentine's Cake House, and his name is Matthew. I've forgotten the second name. He really believed in me. I remember when I had finished practicing with them, and I was like, where do I get employed? There's lots of things that goes on in companies. Some people, like, you want to be employed, people are calling their own people. You're just like in the limbo, like, now what do I do? I really approached him and I explained everything to him. I told him, I really want to be employed. And he told me, on Monday, go to the office. You're employed. That is how I was employed.
Awesome.
In Valentine Cake House.
Right. So during your experience, you did everything cake. You baked, you designed, you did everything in terms of even presenting because you started with doing setups. But in the kitchen, did you do anything?
Okay, well, now I started with the setups as I had mentioned, and then now later on, because the setups are like just over the weekends, because these other days you are studying, so it was over the weekends, because of course most weddings happen on Fridays and Saturdays. And then now later on, now when he employed me, I got the chance to be in all the sectors or the departments. So first of all, I started with production. So I was in the production side, doing the decorations, doing everything production. Like after the cake is from the bakery, now what begins with the slicing, whether it is the sponge cakes or the flavors with the slicing, with the putting in the strawberries, with the decorating the creams, the butters, the ice, the fondants, etc. And then from there, because he has several branches, I was now sent, while still there, because the main office was in town, Nairobi. So we are also sent in the bakery to go learn more, so that you can produce things that befit the company. Because, of course, learning theory versus practical are two different things. So being in the bakery, of course, learning as well. And then now from there, I was sent in a different branch. Now at the branch, I was doing everything. Now, of course, minus the baking, because we had a baker, but I was doing the production. I was in the front office, I was the receptionist, and I was the accountant. Because it was a new branch, and it was just like the three of us.
And so you understood all the ropes of business.
All the ropes of business, including even just addressing the inquiries. Now people walking in to ask about the wedding parts, and that's where I appreciate about the wedding. You remember I started with the wedding,
setups.
Yeah, now the role played so well when I was there, because I could very well explain to the clients what to expect during the weddings, their budgets, to try and work with them, to tell them what different packages will offer them. Yeah.
So how did you transition from now working with them to the outside, or rather to stepping outside? Did you transition in business, or how did you do it?
So,
and how was it?
Yeah. So it's crazy, because every time I think about this, I just laugh or smile. That is even when I even knew about the YouTube stuff and how I started and everything. So I used to live with my brother. My brother is a videographer. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because of that. Okay, it's silly, but anyway, let me just mention. He had...
Just say it.
So we were we were living with him, and then when I was working there, I remember, just watching different contents on YouTube, and that is when I get to realize that different types of vloggers, and especially vloggers from outside Kenya, like especially the white vloggers. Or
do you remember around which year this is?
So this is in 2018. Yeah, I think it was in 2018, 2019. Yeah, around there. So now I'm watching different contents, and then I started to get inspos of different vloggers. So when I'm still working there, because I started my YouTube channel when I was still there at Valentine's, but during that time it was just like random stuff, just foolish stuff. I was just like, and I don't know why, for some reason I always loved recording myself and just having different types of videos of myself in the phone. But I never knew what to do with them, so they were just in the phone. So when I started watching different vloggers on the phone, I was like, there. And actually I remember the first vlogger I watched was Nikki. I don't know if you used to know Nikki and Jamie. They were a couple, actually, and they divorced. Those were the first people I watched. So on watching them, that is when the inspo started. I was like, actually I can be combining the videos I have and be putting them on YouTube, so that it can be easier that way. So during that time, I even started my YouTube. So I did lots of videos, but I never uploaded them. And so there's a guy friend of mine whom I was telling I want to be creating videos, and he was always pushing, telling me, create them. And in fact, he's even the one who even pushed me to doing my first video. And I remember I even did it in church, in the prayer room. That is where I did my first video. So when I first did my first video, I started getting inspo, like, and motivated to do more videos. So while I was working there, the money I could get over the weekends, I go to do reviews. And where I started getting the idea of doing reviews, I also started watching Miss Tudi. I just bumped into her. So I saw Miss Tudi doing the reviews, and I got the inspo. So the money I used to get from the caking job, I could do over the weekends. I go do reviews and do the videos, and then I edit to my YouTube channel. So after some time, my colleague got married, and so they were moving. She was moving with the husband to a different estate. Yeah. So when they moved, I was like, the work was too much for me. It was so hectic. And I remember at the time, I think it was in 2020 or 2021. When did COVID hit? I think 2020.
Towards 2019, end of 2020, beginning of 2020.
Yeah. I think 2020.
2019, 2020, yes.
Yeah. So I was so tired, because now I was the only one working there. I was waking very early to go to work, and I was leaving even to around 10 p.m. And imagine you are at work from, let's just say 7 to 10. So I started getting so tired, and then I started getting like literally
exhausted.
Yeah, exhausted, and my body was like heavy. I started feeling fatigued and everything, and then I was just wondering what the hell was going on. So I felt like maybe it is fatigue. I need some time to just go and rest. So I requested for a few days to go and rest, and I was allowed. So after I rested for the few days, I still felt like I was still sick. So I told them, let me just feel better and then I'll come back. Okay, by that time I was sick for almost a month plus. I was really, really sick. And later on, when I felt better, I started reviewing some of the symptoms of corona. And I even think like probably it is corona that I had. Because I even remember trying to tell my mom all the symptoms I had. And so she didn't tell me at the moment. She told me later on that everything I was telling her, she was like, that is corona.
Maybe she didn't want you to panic.
She didn't want me to panic. So by the time I'm getting healed, I'll skip the part as to why I did, because I don't think it will be friendly to the company for me to say. That is what made me be like, I just don't want to go back because of how I felt aftermath. Yeah, so, and then I was just like, let me just, like, I'm not going back. Yeah, so I spoke with the owner of the company and to try ask him if I can be transferred to a different place. And he was like, right now it's corona, maybe you can speak after corona and see. But then by the time corona is over and everything, I didn't even want to go back. That is when I had, because at that point, my YouTube channel now, that is when I was so dedicated to my YouTube channel. I was now pushing it content after content. And I have my very encouraging brothers who are even giving me some money to go create content whenever I don't have. If I don't have, I remember at the time I was sick, they were taking their drone footages, editing them, and even posting for me, and just telling me, compile this and this. So they were really pushing and helping me. So that is when I found my path in YouTube.
And that's how you loved it and propelled with it. So we really want to dwell here on YouTube because there's one thing with you is you are willing to help newbies get into the business. Like, I think, I don't know, was it research first? Because you're so in depth with the YouTube information that some anytime you tell me, I'm like, I think that I'm learning, but then again you come up with something new. Is it the interest plus research, or what is it?
Actually, even me myself, I ask myself that question. And I don't think I know, but one thing I'll say, me starting my YouTube channel, you see, like the way somebody, maybe right now you can have somebody who can guide even with the littlest advice. Like for myself, I did have, leave alone the one I'm saying, like my bros used to help, like maybe with money and but now knowing the YouTube infos and details and everything, it is there's a lot to know or to learn about YouTube that if you don't have anybody who can just teach you, you will be finding out later on. So this is what happened. First of all, you need to have the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. You see me, I didn't know those things. I was just doing YouTube.
You're just posting.
Yeah, posting. And of course, I knew about the 1K subscribers after some time, because sometimes when you're watching YouTube, you just bump into some other videos. Information
from others.
Yeah. So with the 4,000 watch hours, I never knew. Now, after I've gotten 1K subscribers, and I'm like, now how am I supposed to be earning on YouTube? And then I don't know if somebody told me, or I don't know how I got to find out. And I'm like, you need to have 4,000 watch hours. By the time I'm checking my watch hours, I don't know, I'm like at 1,000 and what? I'm like, what? And then so at that time I met, I think maybe it's a group we were into or something. I don't remember very well, but people were saying, you don't wait for you to get to 1,000 subscribers for you to start looking for the watch hours. During that time, you are also supposed to be working towards the watch hours. Okay, for people who are very known or celebrities, people who have names out there, it's not hard for them to get the 4,000 watch hours. They'll just do the one video, it gives them the subscribers. But for me, I'm someone who started from the ground.
No one knows you.
I know no one knows me, so I'm supposed to work hard for everything. So that is one thing that got me thinking, like, whenever somebody was starting a YouTube channel, I'm like, I didn't know this info, so I don't want that person to wait until the time I was waiting to get there for them to realize that I'm supposed to be having 4,000 watch hours when they could have done this
together
all together for them to. So that is one thing that maybe, how do I say, encouraged me or made me want to also
teach others, so that no one goes through what you went through.
What I went through. And whenever I was doing that, I was.
So how did you reach your 1K and your 4K?
Actually, for me reaching 1K, I don't think it was hard for me reaching 1K. I think, okay, not that it was easy.
It was not much of a struggle compared to the watch hours.
Because at that time I was not even concentrating on, I need to get, I was just there, like I was just doing. But by the time I got to almost, I think 700 subscribers, that is when I started realizing, I need to get to 1,000 subscribers. So by the time I got to 1,000 subscribers, I remember, I don't remember, I think there's a group you were in, if I'm not wrong, because by that time you start interacting with other YouTubers, you just find yourself having YouTube friends.
What I remember getting into YouTube, I would, from one time to another, if I'm watching other people's content, especially the established ones, you'll see newbies, new YouTubers commenting down there. If you're a new YouTuber, come to my space so that we can learn, some to my place so that we can grow, something like that. So could be those are the things you bumped into and maybe you guys found yourself in a group.
Imagine, it's crazy because I don't know, during our time I never used to see those messages. Imagine there are all those
for
messages.
Me they used to pop
now,
up.
I see them everywhere. Even me, I see them whenever I go to different videos. In fact, I'm the one who even used to, because I remember I used to go to Akina Jugushi's channels and tell people, please come subscribe to my channel, and I could find like maybe 10 more subscribers. But I never, like maybe just my message, I never saw any other message from any other YouTuber saying people come. I don't know, maybe it's something that
I think it's something that grew over time.
They knew, okay, it's
once they
and
learned.
It works.
So through this, can we say that what steps can you advise someone that wants to get into YouTube, that the steps that they should not skip, so that when someone watches this particular show and they've always wanted to get into YouTube and they do not know where to begin, how to begin, and what happens, they can live with something. Someone can live and start confidently. So what are those steps, key steps that someone needs to follow when getting into YouTube?
First of all, number one, the very, 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 very first thing, when you want to start your YouTube channel, you'll always be like, and especially if you don't have a good phone or a camera, you'll always be like, my phone is terrible, the camera is bad, I cannot start my YouTube channel with this phone. And that is what kills majority of the people who want to start their YouTube channels, and that is what killed me. If I didn't get that push up hand to tell me just do it, probably maybe by now I could have never started. Because I told I had a guy friend who told me, let's go do it today. I knew I wanted to do it and I wanted to, but I was never starting. So I'll tell anyone out there, that's your camera. And I'm telling you for sure, some years back, if you follow this advice, you'll be looking back and saying that advice really helped. Just start with your, because nobody really cares. Okay, maybe people care, but they don't really care. It's
for the quality.
You are the one who is starting your own brand. So start it by you starting
with what you have.
Yes, with what you have. You'll be watching a video, the one who will be motivating yourself, knowing my camera is horrible. I need now to work hard for me to buy another camera. But if you don't even make that step, you'll never know. Like, you'll always be seated there 20 years later, I want to start my YouTube channel, my camera is bad, my camera is bad. Start, so that when you'll be watching your videos, it will motivate you to buy another camera. So that is number one. Please start with that camera. And if you're finding it too hard for you to start, which is very understandable, because it was too hard for me to start, if you have any YouTuber who is your friend, just tell them, okay, I need to start my first video and I don't know how to start. And then let me really pray and hope that when you approach that YouTuber, they will be able to help you create even your first video. Because trust me, once you create that first video, I don't know if it's the same experience to you. You tell me, once you create the first video, you're like, I want to create the next one. I want to.
For me, you see, the person that really motivated me to start, I have stopped you and you were giving us a list, but I was also pushed. And I used to say, I want to start. And this one, I wanted to start like 3 years before I started. I really started. And the lady that used to come to my house, Irene, to help me wash clothes, was the one that was insistent. She was like, anaitwa Irene, Rosa, basi ni shoot nikifua alafu. And then I'm like, I don't think I want to portray you like that. Like, basi ni unatakanga channel, basi fungua channel. I am not shooting. So one day she came, I didn't have many clothes, and alimaliza mapema because alikuwa pia a friend. So she would finish and then tunapiga story. So venye alimaliza akaniambia, Rosa, si uko na kamera? Na uko na nyumba hapa. Fanya hivi, toa hiyo kamera, iweke na uniambie nifinye wapi na ushoot. And that is how I shot my first video. Like she pushed me and pushed me and pushed me until I started. One day she'll sit here and
after that story. The second one, it
rolled, and now I was motivated to keep on going. So imagine that's how I just propelled. I can never forget her for that. So continue with the steps. I just remembered how I started and how difficult it was. And I had equipments. I can't even lie that I didn't have bad cameras. I had a professional camera in the house. I had lighting, but I didn't like, for the first time I was more of a photographer than a videographer. I didn't want to engage so much into video. So I didn't even like shooting myself and shooting, but I wanted to create content. And I also knew what I wanted to create. I just didn't have the courage.
And I loved it when you started. I was so happy because it is always good for you to have people surrounding you who are also vloggers, because you share the same,
the same space and ideas, and you understand each other. So you were giving us points and you gave us point number 1, and I rudely interrupted, so continue.
It was not rude, it was very well. So they come. Me, I remember mine. I started with Techno. A very horrible phone, but I thank God for it because it shaped and helped me. And through it, I knew I needed a more cuter camera or what have you. So start with what you have. Start with what you have. I don't know, point number 2, I had said what?
You started with most importantly, start with what you have. Then now you are to go to point number 2.
Point number 2. Just start. If you feel like it's hard for you to start, find at least a friend or maybe somebody whom you know is a YouTuber and at least you know them or somebody knows them. Just tell them, I really need to start a video and I don't know how to start. It's so hard for me. Could you help me create at least my first YouTube video? Because once they help you create the first YouTube video, you will proceed towards making more videos without even it being a big deal. So and I pray that during that time God will send someone
to support you.
It's hard.
It's not an easy journey because I asked a few people here and there, and I wasn't getting proper info until I met you. Actually, I don't know if you remember the first time I met you.
I can't forget that. I can't remember. I can't forget the first time we met.
So the very first time you met me at my house.
At your house. You were hosting us for the winners.
The winners group. And I didn't even know you. I had And then when you introduce yourself and you're like, I'm a YouTuber, and you just started. Why won't you do this? Why don't you do this?
And then I think at that time, Aluda had told you. I don't know if you had mentioned to Aluda. I don't know if you had mentioned to him you wanted to start. Or
I had mentioned. I think he had seen my first video, and then he was worried. He was more of. He had seen my first video, and then I had asked him if he can help me out. Then I don't know, he said when he visits, we'll talk about it. And then there was that gap again until now I was hosting. And he mentioned. So when he mentioned, you just picked it up and went
I think he also mentioned it to me. So when he mentioned it to me, I was so interested. Actually, Aluda is the one who pushed me to starting my first video. He literally told me,
Anza.
Tutoke tuende. And we left, and it was like today we are shooting the first video.
Having such people around that motivate you and pushes you, really good. That's one thing that I'm also doing. I used to tell people there's a certain stage when I get, I'll make sure I start pushing everyone because now I'll have conviction, and I'll be sure if I'm telling you, get into YouTube pays, at least it has paid me, so now I know that it actually pays. Then that way I will now start convincing people. But before that, if anyone asks, I don't know how much. I'll tell them it pays, but I don't have the first-hand experience. So just to keep on rolling, you've also gone vast into monetization and views. First, before I ask you about monetization, let me ask you about views. What if someone starts and they're worried about their views? What would you tell them?
So that question will still go into now the starting, the tips I was giving. It will even go into that, because when you want to start, you don't know how the reception is going to be. You're like, now will people watch and everything, but you be more concerned about you starting your YouTube channel. Number one, be more concerned about the content you're going to create, because YouTube really needs creativity. They say YouTube is a big cake, everybody will have it, but be more concerned about your content. Like me right now, generally speaking, sometimes the content I do, if you try to compare it with maybe other people, you won't see other people doing such content, regardless of whether it has views or does not have views. It is me finding my own niche and doing what I have, because I can't be more concerned to doing what other people are doing, which is not a bad thing, because it helps even just generally, because I've also done several contents that other people are doing, and not to mean that what I'm doing other people are not doing. They're actually doing, but just that
a different way
from outside. Like I try to see
your research is from different.
I try from a different angle. But what I'm trying to say is try to be creative. Like be more concerned about starting and being creative, doing something that you'll not find anybody else doing. And even if somebody else is still doing what you're doing, there's a twist to what you're doing.
Okay, so Maryanne, I want to give you a task to just take someone that would really want to start, or rather new YouTuber, on the things they need to know. That is from the beginning to the level of monetization. Just take them roughly through that part.
So first of all, you need to have 1,000 subscribers and then 4,000 watch hours. I hope it's still the same right now. Of course it is, because you just went through monetization recently. So, and then when you are still working towards 1,000 subscribers, don't wait until you get the 1,000 subscribers for you to start getting the 4,000 watch hours, especially if you are somebody who is struggling to be up there. Leave alone those who are just and they get to the 4,000 watch hours. So start looking for them as early as possible. And also you can do that instead of struggling to, like for my case, I used to try to talk to different people to help me get the views, more views, or maybe more to watch my playlist, so that I can get the watch hours easily. But you can also try to see how you can be so creative so that your videos can garner more views, that can garner you more watch hours without you struggling a lot. So that's it. And then basically the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Once you get there, you monetize your channel, and then you start working hard towards now how you will be earning money through your videos. And once you are creative and just trying your very best to have good titles, good thumbnails, and try really think out of the box on how you can create your content to earn you money, you're going to earn money, because YouTube earns you money. The more content you do, the more money you earn. And also depending with where majority of the people are watching you from. I'm from Kenya, sorry to say, but our CPM is really low. But when you're being watched by lots of people, like let's say from US, from UK, from London, India, and all those countries, you get to get more money. That is also part of the reasons as to why I changed my niche. And that is also part of the reasons as to why many people do their vlogs using English as a language, because it is a national,
diverse.
It's so that way it's easier for many people to understand your vlogs, and for you to just teach different people to watch your vlogs, and you can earn more money from it. And then also work hard to building your brand, because the more you build your brand, the more you'll attract more brand and to work with, and endorsements to work with you. That way you'll get more money. So once you realize your niche, just stick on it and work harder. Don't be like me who diversed to doing other things and then later on I'm realizing let me build my brand. So when you build your brand and be persistent, one thing for sure I'll tell people, be really persistent. Even if you're uploading right now and you're getting 3 views, 5 views, just know it's for a period. Once you do that continuously, you are creating, the algorithm will start favoring you. Now whenever you'll be releasing videos, YouTube will be recommending it to people who've been watching your videos and who are seeing you uploading the same thing every time and they love it. So with time it's going to pick up and they're going to earn from YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your time. And guys, I just want to promise you that we are going to do this video in depth. Because of time, we have to cut it short. But I really wanted us to go deep into YouTube content creation and everything with Maryanne, and if she can allow, because finding her is also another problem. She's not easy to find. We can do a live. Are you promising to be part of a live? Hata kama you're doing it from the other end and I'm from this other end, and we make sure that we take you through. We'll let you know when we'll be doing the live and when we'll be going through all the details that is required, and even the terms. You are hearing CPMs and all this, and maybe you don't even know what that is. So explaining and doing it all in details, we shall make sure we set a date for one live with Maryanne. And that's what it. I still want to say a big thank you. You have played a very huge role in my YouTube growth, and you're still playing it and you're not getting exhausted. May that blessing follow you. May it favor you. So if you just summarize and give a parting shot. Yeah.
I'm humbled, thank you, and of course always feel free to ask, and anybody else who has a question out there, because I believe that's how you build each other. Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. And she's at 5K subscribers, and I'm also so super excited for her. You've come from so far and you're continuing on well. I wish you all the best, and please guys, if you're watching, be sure to like this video, share and subscribe, because that is how you get to support us when somebody is struggling hard to bring content for you to watch, to be entertained or inspired. The least you can do is liking the video, watching, and of course sharing to more people and subscribing as well. So my YouTube channel name is Imali TV. Be sure to go check me out as well. So Imali TV is combined. There's no spacing. Yeah, I'm there. Be sure to subscribe and follow me on my socials as well at Imali TV. And for any questions, be sure to leave it down there and I'll be able to answer it as well.
Thank you once again. And guys, thank you for watching to the end. And just like I promised, we are going to do one live with Maryanne, and in this live we are going to make sure that we give you all the details required. If you're a newbie, this one will be yours. If you're intending to, or you're dreaming, or you know someone that will want to, that one will be your kind of video to watch. Thank you so much, and I am your host Rosanya Rath, and thank you for watching Inspire to Aspire. Adios.